Welcome to this executive masterclass. Look, if you're operating in the property sector right now, you already know the landscape is shifting under our feet. Today, we're going to fundamentally transform how we understand real estate strategy. We're stepping away from those basic transactional metrics and diving into the deeper, philosophical forces that actually dictate market demand and portfolio success. To give you that strategic edge, we're going to execute this explainer across 5 precise modules: Introduction and the plugin, the value and ownership pillars, emotion and governance, space and ecology, and finally, we'll wrap up with an outro and final plugin. All right, let's dive straight into Module 1, Introduction and the plugin. To really gain a lasting advantage in this market, we first have to establish our foundational text. The incredible insights we're covering today are derived directly from the philosophy of residential and commercial real estate. It's a brilliant text by management consultant Willem Tait, and he has multiple books available on Amazon, Apple Books, and at a library close to you. Links to Willem's books and authorship profiles are available in the episode bio and description. As his philosophy clearly points out, true profitability requires an understanding that goes way beyond a simple price tag. Moving right along to Module 2, the value and ownership pillars. This is where we bridge the gap between high-level philosophical theory and the actual actionable mechanics of your portfolio. Let's kick things off with axiology. Now, value isn't just some static number sitting on a balance sheet. It is a complex tapestry of meaning that guides literally every development and investment decision we make. So we have to ask ourselves, what actually gives a property its worth? Well, it comes down to a balance of 2 things. On one hand, you have intrinsic worth. These are the deeply personal elements, right? Memories, comfort, security, the specific architectural design. On the other hand, you've got extrinsic worth, which is driven by external market factors like community perception, school districts, and proximity to major economic hubs. To maintain a real, lasting advantage in negotiations, you absolutely have to master the intersection of both. Next up is ontology, which dictates the true nature of ownership. I really want to challenge you here. Stop viewing your portfolio as just a collection of legal titles. Instead, start seeing it as a profound balance of your rights, your entitlements, and your societal contribution. The actionable mechanics for this are actually pretty clear-cut. Your legal rights grant you the autonomy to occupy, sell, or lease. But then there's ethical stewardship, your inherent responsibility to care for and preserve that asset. And finally, your future legacy relies entirely on how you shape the space to foster tenant success. True ownership in any commercial or residential portfolio demands active stewardship, not just passive control. Let's transition into Module 3, the emotion and governance pillars. We're going to unpack the powerful psychological drivers and regulatory frameworks that really dictate market demand. Consider the concept of entomology. It's fascinating, but emotional responses will frequently completely outweigh rational, calculated financial decisions in real estate. Whether someone is looking for a home for their family or a sleek, new corporate headquarters, their choices are ultimately guided by profound psychological bonds to the space. We're talking about incredibly powerful emotional drivers here: pride and achievement, identity and brand alignment, nostalgia, and just that universal human need for belonging. Even the most utilitarian commercial spaces only really succeed when they reflect the ambitions and identities of the people using them. If you ignore these drivers, you're literally ignoring the core of your market demand. But of course, we have to balance that emotion with polity. Governance is the absolute backbone of how spaces are planned, developed, and maintained in your portfolio. And these aren't just annoying bureaucratic hurdles. These laws and policies are actual frameworks rooted in philosophical ideas about fairness, justice, and the common good. Just look at how politics and real estate intersect. Single-family zoning prioritizes privacy and shapes neighborhood identity. Mixed-use urban planning, that fosters connection and high-density innovation. And taxation directly drives economic growth, even though it raises questions about equity. Every single zoning law or tax policy alters asset value. If you can anticipate these governing visions, you can align your developments way ahead of major market shifts. That brings us to Module 4, the space and ecology pillars. Now we're zeroing in on spatial relationships and the absolute rising mandate of environmental responsibility. Let's talk about topology. Here is the essential takeaway for this one: absolutely no property exists in isolation. Your assets are basically nodes in a massive web of economic and social interactions where layout and placement fundamentally shape human behavior. It really helps to trace the evolution of how we live. We started with basic shelter and survival, just a fundamental need for safety. Then spaces evolved for identity and community building. And now we are firmly in the era of sustainable and tech integration. Smart cities, prop tech, eco-conscious developments, these are rapidly redefining what makes an asset functional. Which naturally leads us right into ecology. And I want to state this as firmly as possible. Green building practices are no longer just a nice-to-have market demand. They are essential statements of real environmental stewardship. It's about ethically designing and intertwining your assets with the natural world. The practical applications of this philosophy are incredibly straightforward. We're looking at LEED certification, maximizing natural light with green roofs, designing walkable neighborhoods to reduce emissions, and ensuring equitable access to green spaces. Integrating these exact features into your portfolio aligns your profit with long-term preservation. Okay, we've made it to our final section, Module 5, Outro and Final Plugin. It is time to synthesize everything we've talked about in this masterclass into one cohesive strategic takeaway. To do that effectively, we have to view everything through the lens of globality. Think about it. Your local real estate assets are now inextricably linked to international finance, trade policies, and cultural exchange. Capital and ideas flow seamlessly across borders. A design trend in Dubai influences London. Foreign capital reshapes coastal towns. You are operating on a truly global stage. So here is the ultimate strategic takeaway for your portfolio. Real estate is a living philosophy. It's a reflection of humanity's ability to create, connect, and adapt. By mastering these pillars, value, ownership, emotion, governance, space, and ecology, you are securing a lasting market advantage because you're navigating the very human needs that give structures their worth. Check out Willem Tait's books using the links in the description. And hey, if you found this executive masterclass valuable today, be sure to follow us on this platform so you never miss an explainer and you can keep staying ahead of the strategic curve. I'm going to leave you with one final thought. The next time you sit down and look at your portfolio, I want you to look right past those financial models. Just ask yourself, what values are truly driving your next real estate decision?